that server is going to do with his data. Maybe hand it over to the U.S. government. If it's a U.S. company, that's what it has to do. Hand over all the data to the U.S. government secretly. So that's bad too. But in addition, I explained how some non-free programs have universal backdoors that allow someone remotely to change how the user's computing is done without asking the user's approval. For instance, Windows, Google Chrome, and most portable phones have a universal backdoor. Well, with software as a service, the server operator can at any time install different software in the server. It's his computer. He should be able to change the software in it, but the result is to change how the user's computing is done without asking the user's permission. Thus, software as a service is inherently equivalent to running a proprietary program with spy features and a universal backdoor. And the only remedy is don't use it. There is nothing that can be done in that server to give the users individually and collectively control over what that server does. The only way you can control what a server does is if it's your server and you decide what software to run in. Then it's okay. But if it's somebody else's server, you automatically lose control. So the answer is reject software as a service. It's necessary to have freedom. Now, the last topic I want to talk about, and I think I need to sit down. It's too bad. I speak better when I'm standing, but I feel I need to sit down. The last point I want to cover is free software and education. Educational activities, including schools of all levels, and as well as adult education, must teach only free software. And there are 4 reasons for this. The most superficial is to save money. Now, free software is not always gratis. You can buy and sell copies. But it does create an opportunity for the users to save money if they wish to go to an effort to do so. For instance, if the Ministry of Education gets 1 copy of a free program, it can make a copy for every school and send that copy to the school using Freedom 2. Then the school can install that program in every computer and run it using Freedom 0. So, because they are free to do this, they don't have to pay for permission, so they can save money. And that's good because the schools don't have enough money. They shouldn't waste it on paying for permission to run proprietary software. But this is the most superficial reason. It's the least important. So we should never say it last. We should always say it first, to emphasize that the others are the real reasons. And besides, some proprietary software developers eliminate the possibility of savings by offering gratis copies of their non-free software to schools. Why do they do this? Because they wish to be public benefactors? Not at all. They are trying to use the schools as an instrument to impose dependence on society. Here's how it works. They deliver these gratis copies of the non-free program to the school teaches the students to use it, and the students become dependent. And then they graduate, and they're still dependent. And this developer does not offer them gratis copies after they graduate. Oh no. And some of them get jobs working for companies. The developer does not offer those companies gratis copies. Oh no. So the idea is that the school directs its students down the path of permanent dependence, and they can pull the rest of society with them into dependence. It's like giving the school gratis needles full of addictive drugs to inject into their students, saying the first dose is gratis. How can you refuse? Well, the school must refuse. The school would reject the drugs, whether they're gratis or not, and it must reject the proprietary software, whether gratis or not, because schools and other educational activities have a social mission. Their mission is to educate good citizens of a strong, capable, independent, cooperating, and free society. In the computing field, that means teaching people to be good users of free software. And never teach proprietary software, because teaching dependence goes against the social mission. But there's a deeper reason for the education of the best programmers. Some people are natural-born programmers. At the age of 10 to 13, they are fascinated by computing, and they want to learn how everything works. But when these kids ask the teacher, how does it do this? If the program is proprietary, the teacher can only respond, I'm sorry, it's a secret we can't find out. So education is not allowed. If you leave now, you are missing the best part. In about 4 minutes, the funniest part. It's a real shame if you miss it. Well, the last thing they'd ever want to do is laugh. So, with proprietary software, education is forbidden. Proprietary programs are the enemy of the spirit of education, so they must never be tolerated in an educational activity. But if the program is free, the teacher can explain what he knows, then say, here's a copy of the source code, read it and you'll understand everything. And those kids will read it because they're fascinated and they yearn to understand. And then the teacher can say, if you come across any point that you can't figure out by yourself, show it to me and we'll figure it out together. That gives our natural-born programmers the chance to learn a very important lesson. That part of the code is not clear. You shouldn't write it that way. And that's what they need to learn. How do these natural-born programmers develop into good programmers? What does it mean to be a good programmer? It means writing code that other people can understand. In order to learn that, you have to learn to recognize what people can't understand. The way you learn to write good, clear code is by reading lots of code and writing lots of code. Only free software offers the chance to read lots of code of large programs people really use. And then you have to write lots of code. You have to write code in large programs. In order to do that, you have to start small, which does not mean writing small programs. That's not even starting to confront the difficulties of large programs. To start small means writing small changes in existing large programs. Only free software gives you the chance to write for small changes, then large changes in existing large programs. And every school can offer students the opportunity to learn this, but only if they are free software schools. But there's an even deeper reason for moral education, education in citizenship. Schools must do more than teach facts and skills. They must teach the spirit of goodwill, the habit of helping other people. Thus, every class must have the following rule. Students, if you bring software to class, You may not keep it for yourself. You must share copies with everyone in the class that wants them, including the source code in case someone here wants to learn. Because this class is a place where we share our knowledge. So, bringing proprietary software to class is not permitted. The school must set a good example by following its own rule. It must bring only free software to class and share copies with everyone in the class. Those of you who have a connection with educational activities, it's your duty to pressure to convert them to free software and never give up. Always present this as an ethical issue. If someone else presents purely practical reasons not to do this, you must say, yes, that would appear to work, but it does the wrong thing. We have to do an ethical education, not just one that seems to be convenient. And keep bringing it up in a way that other people will see. Try to find more allies among the students, the teachers, the staff, and the parents. So, for more information about free software, look at GNU.org. For more information about the Free Software Foundation, including resources and political campaign activities, and if you wish to join the Free Software Foundation, see fsf.org. There is also the Free Software Foundation Latin America at fsfla.org. Please visit these sites and please help our activities. Freedom is up to you. Now it's time for me to present my other identity. I am Saint Ignatius of the Church of Emacs. I bless your computer, my child. Emacs started out as a program, an extensible text editor that I wrote, which became a way of life for many users as it was extended so much they could do all their computing inside Emacs. And then it became a church with the launch of the news group alt.religion.emacs that you might be amused to visit. In the Church of Emacs, we have no services, only software. We have a great schism between several rival versions of Emacs. And we also have saints, but fortunately no gods. Instead of gods, we adore the one true editor, Emacs. To be a member of the Church of Emacs, you must pronounce the confession of the faith. You must say, there is no system but GNU, and Linux is one of its kernels. Then, if you become a true expert, you can celebrate that with our ceremony, the Fubar Mitzvah, in which you chant part of our sacred scriptures, that is, the system source code. We also have the cult of the Virgin of Emacs. That refers to anyone who has never used Emacs. And according to the Church of Emacs, offering the Virgin the opportunity to lose Emacs virginity is a blessed act. We also have the Emacs pilgrimage, which consists of invoking all the commands of Emacs in alphabetical order. No one knows what that would do. There is a Tibetan sect that believes that it's sufficient to execute them all under program control, under a script. But the mainstream church holds that in order to get spiritual merit from this pilgrimage, you have to type the commands by hand. The Church of Emacs has certain advantages compared with other churches I won't mention. For instance, to be a saint in the Church of Emacs does not require celibacy. So if you have been searching for a church to be saintly in, you might consider ours. But it does require living a life of moral purity. You must exorcise whatever evil proprietary operating systems have possessed computers under your control or set up for your regular use, and then install a wholly free operating system. Boy, I pity the translator now, because holy can be spelled in more than one way. And then only use and install free software with and on the system. If you make this vow and you live by it, then you too will be a saint and you'll have the right to wear a halo. If you can find one, because they don't make them anymore. People sometimes ask whether it is a sin in the Church of Emacs to use the other editor, VI. It's true that VI is the editor of the beast. But using a free implementation of VI is not a sin, it's a penance. And people sometimes ask whether my Halo is really an old computer disk. This is no computer disk, this is my Halo. But it was a computer disk in a previous life. So thank you. Now it's time for the auction, if they let me do the auction. Will they let me do the auction? Let's see. This is an adorable canoe that needs a home. It needs a family. And if you are the purchaser, I can sign the card for you. And if you have a penguin at home, then you need to get a canoe for your penguin, because as we all know, a penguin can't hardly function without a canoe. And a penguin without a canoe is like a, I won't finish that. So, we can accept payment either in cash or with a credit card. If the credit card will work for international purchases by phone, it will work with us too. And when you bid, please wave your arm and shout the amount as loud as you can, because you want me to hear. So I'm going to start with 50 reais. Do I get, which is its normal price, by the way. Do I get 50 reais? Do I get 50? It's 50 reais. Do I get 50 reais? How much? How much? Okay, 50. So I've got 50. Do I get 55? Please silence if you're not bidding. I want 60 I've got. Do I get 65? 70? I've got 70. Do I get 75 or more? I've got 70. Do I get 75 or more? I don't understand that sign. How much? How much? Sorry. That's lower. I've got 70. Do I get 75 or more? Do I get 75 or more for this door that needs some more? Do I get 75 or more to the Free Software Foundation to defend freedom? Do I get 75? How much? I've got 80. Do I get 85 or more? I've got 100. Do I get 110? How much in the back there? I've got 100. How much did someone in the back bid? Do I get 110 or more? Do I get 110 for this adorable canoe? How much? I've got 200. I've got 200. Do I get 220? How much? How much does that person bid? I can't understand. Can someone relay the amount? So that person in the back seems to have bid, but I can't. How much? 300? She bid 300. Is that correct? Did you bid 300? I've got to make sure does that mean yes? I don't understand. I mean, could you come closer? Please, how much are you bidding? I can't see your fingers from here, even with my glasses. So, can someone tell me how much she's bidding? Nothing? Okay, it's not a bid, so I've got 200. Do I get 220? I've got 200. Do I get 220? 220 for this adorable canoe? Do I get 220 to the Free Software Foundation to defend freedom? Last chance to bid 220 or more. Last chance. Going. Gone for 200. Please come up. So, which method do you wish to pay? Okay, you should write down all the information on the card on a piece of paper. He was lying. Damn it. You just messed up the auction. Don't bullshit me. Well, then don't bid. Then don't bid. Don't bid then. Don't lie. What's the point of lying? So, I had 100 and how much? That you bid 100. Do I get 110? See, he just wasted everybody's time. He shouldn't have done that. You don't have to bid. Do I get 110? Do I get 110 for this adorable canoe that needs a family? 100 and how much? Well, he bid 100 already. Why are you wasting my time again? You're being stupid. Do I get 110 or more? Last chance to bid 110 or more. Going. Gone for 100. Please come up. You know, after this I'm going to answer questions, but I'll have less time to do that because you wasted it. So, how do you plan to pay? Okay, write down the credit card information on this piece of paper. I do. And then show me both of them. Also put a phone number or email address. And the price, and say it's reais so we won't think it's dollars. So now it's time for me to answer questions. I am sort of deaf. If you speak in an ordinary way, I won't understand you, even with a microphone. You need to speak loud and clearly like this. Now, if you wish to speak Portuguese, that will work if the translator will translate for you, but then I need to have a headset. Oh, yeah, people write down the questions, that's fine too. That works very well.